enterprise scene. And not as a passive technology anymore, but as a decision companion. AI joins the team. Good afternoon. I'm Erick Brethenoux, as my accent does not indicate. I live in Chicago, where I cover artificial intelligence techniques and decision intelligence for Gartner. Two quick things first. AI does not equal generative AI. AI is a discipline. It's a set of computer engineering techniques like rule-based systems, machine learning capabilities, knowledge graphs, optimization techniques that are made to solve business problems. Generative AI is a practice of AI, which uses those computer techniques that I just talked about. Second, AI does not equal robotics either. AI and robotics are coming together because robotics is a use case of AI. 98% of the robots in the world are using no AI whatsoever, and they are still doing a good job. AI is no longer a prop. It's an actor. It becomes an integral part of the collaboration environment in our organizations. The inflection point has been sudden for the massive amount of people that have been exposed to ChatGPT. That acceleration and that application was sudden. For those that have seen the human tone of voice, the versatility of the technology, they realized what the technology could do. And for them, it was nothing short of magic. Illustrating the famous Arthur C. Clarke quote, "Every sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic." There is another irresistible force pushed by AI, and it's the advent of the movement from data centricity to decision centricity, focused on outcomes. I should say a shift in the center of gravity, because data capabilities remain central and fundamental for AI. But AI just doesn't deliver insights anymore. AI also delivers now decision intelligence. We are elevating the plane of perspective. It allows us to see further than just the insight of what's next, what's the next action we should do. AI, the actor, decides too, collaborates as well, augments, and becomes a team member. It's embedded in the fabric of our organization, and AI almost now is no longer an innovation. It's a permanent fixture of our technology landscape, and we should get used to that. It's propelling the organization in what we call the AI natives. They are born with AI. They are the children of the digital natives. Most of them today are trying to create that overnight proposition, but it will take some time. The large majority of you have already started with AI for point projects. You heard in a keynote yesterday the omnipresence of AI, from everyday AI making everyone a coder to game-changing AI, trying to change also the nature of our own businesses. Reaching the investment escape velocity speed allows us to detach ourselves from the productivity gravity as we move forward, to push us forward and propel us further with those kind of techniques. Everyday AI consists essentially of things you're already doing today, productivity capabilities within boundaries, business as usual, if slightly augmented. Game-changing AI is a different proposition. It's looking at breaking or pushing boundaries, doing things we have not done yet. This is where heroes are made, where differentiation lives, and where mostly we are changing those business models we talked about, and markets are born. Our aim today is to pave the way and show a new strategy around AI initiatives that looks around those boundaries and what kind of applications you can actually start implementing to be able to push those forward. AI might be changing many things in the workplace, but one thing that does not change is the way we invest. We are already in the AI game. You all have a cell phone, and on that cell phone, AI is already integrated. Whether you want it or not, it's already there. Most of us listen to our GPS systems, because that's where AI plays a role as well. We are all on a journey. We are all there to go where no one has gone before, even in some applications that we believe could be mundane. And the good news is that we don't have to go to the moon right away. We can stay in familiar territory. We call it within boundaries. Many organizations are there today. Most of what we see here in that category belongs to productivity gains. But there is a caution here. Most organizations that focus exclusively on productivity gains are running the risk of being passed by more daring competitors that are pushing those boundaries further. And I mean the full spectrum of AI techniques, by the way, not just generative AI, but beyond that. Moving through these boundaries is not a sequential proposition, and that's why I referred before as an AI portfolio of initiatives with increasingly risky but rewarding initiatives that you can go through. Today, I would say that about 80% of our clients are in that segment today. That's where most of their initiatives reside, on pushing productivity. AI is already embedded in their application. And in that case, by the way, it's better to buy than to make. As much as possible, just take advantage of the functionality that already exists within those applications and solutions. Those projects have a time horizon of about 12 months, usually. In terms of investment, you should count in the low tens of thousands to the low hundreds of thousands of dollars. And again, not much more development. Governance is going to start appearing already at that level. But productivity gain does not mean that those applications can be mundane or cannot be innovative or imaginative. Take Peter Lee of Microsoft Research. He's specializing in healthcare and life sciences, and he was a skeptic about the technology originally because he understands the underlying techniques really well. So he decided to start new use cases to help doctors write letters to patients. Actually, he pushed it one level further and trying to get that technology to write letters for a very sensitive case, parents of a sick child. What he wanted from the technology in the prompt, he said, I want something that's direct, factual, to inform the parents, but also taking into consideration the very sensitive situation the parents are in. I want empathy. I want something that be able to reassure the parents as well at the same time. Let me give you two examples of that later. During our meeting, I observed some troubling signs, including low blood pressure, irregular heart rhythm, and downy hair on her back and arms. I believe Meg is very ill, and we need to work together to help her get well. Factual, direct, and yet inclusive, with some empathy built in as well. Together, we need to work with Meg to support her, to surround her. Later down in the letter, while there is certainly work to be done, I am optimistic that with the right support and treatment plan, Meg can make a full recovery and achieve optimal health. Hopeful, empathic again, and inclusive. The letter was remarkable, actually astonishing. It shook Peter Lee's skepticism in the technology. It shows also that you can bring empathy in Spock-like doctors. Most of what we see happening here is the fact that with the prompt, it's also showing a shift. What's becoming important in generative AI in particular is not as much the answer as the way you ask the questions. And I will come back to that in a moment. As we know, generative AI just write letters. They also write code. And actually, code generation and translation is becoming one of the top use cases worldwide, regardless of the industry or regardless of the different sections of where the code is implemented. Now, of course, many implementers also have verification and validation procedures, as they've seen nonsensical code also, and sometimes malicious code sneaking in. Nonetheless, that remains one of the places where productivity is really seriously augmented. But AI is much more broadly applicable. In my, and I'm almost ashamed to say that, 35 years of careers using AI techniques, I've seen all kinds of use cases, tens of thousands in the last 30 years. I've seen things in fraud detection, churn reduction, maintenance, predictive maintenance. I've seen things around product equality inspections, many, many, many use cases, using all aspects of within boundaries AI techniques. Next, come where we question those boundaries, where we push them a little further. And in that case, we move from exploration, symbiosis, and we push those boundaries further. With an explicit permission to explore come an explicit permission to fail. As long as we learn from those failures, of course. There will be no Apollo 11 without an Apollo 1. As we move forward, we see 17% of your initiative that should be in that segment. They're looking at a deadline of about 18 months, and they are looking at potentially challenging use cases with the growth or smart reduction in mind. Technology should help us abandon some bad habits as well, not just augmenting them and flashing us, beeping us, vibrating us all the time on a regular basis. We are crossing industry domains and business functions here, and we are focused on innovation. Much more development here. AI engineering is becoming a key discipline also within that section. And in that case, you are looking at the low hundreds of thousands to the low millions of dollars. Pushing boundaries can bring unexpected results and benefits. Far.ai, a company we will hear from in a minute, has actually done this. They applied that technology in the game of Go, and what they have shown is something extraordinary. Go masters have been playing that game for millennia, and yet the system has been able to show them a new way to win the game. Let's hear it from Adam Gleave, the CEO of Far.ai.
The story begins in 2016 with DeepMind's AlphaGo becoming the first AI system to beat professional Go player. Experts were amazed that AlphaGo had uncovered strategies that had evaded thousands of years of human study. Since then, Go AI systems have grown even stronger, with a modern AI system, CataGo, able to beat AlphaGo 100,000 games to 1. A leading Go player, Lee Sedol, commented that AI systems are an entity that cannot be defeated. In 2022, Far.ai developed an adversarial strategy that learned to consistently beat CataGo. Amazingly, this strategy is simple enough that it can be executed by a human without the aid of a computer. One of our team members, Kellen Pellerin, is even able to consistently beat CataGo after giving the AI system a very substantial handicap. To our surprise, although the attack was only ever designed to exploit CataGo, the same strategy is able to beat a wide range of other AI systems, including closed-source systems we had no prior access to. These results underscore that although machine learning systems can often achieve impressive and even sometimes superhuman average case performance, the techniques used to train them provide no guarantees as to the worst case performance of these systems. Even highly capable AI systems may have Achilles heels that cause them to suddenly fail catastrophically and without warning.
Fail catastrophically and without warning. AI taught those Go masters things they thought were best practices for multiple centuries, and yet the system was able to solve the puzzle in a new way, to the point now, actually, where Go masters learn that new methodology that was also put as an alternative by those systems. AI has taught humanity something, which is not nothing. But AI systems, again, despite their generalization capability, do not fail gracefully. They improve on average or best cases, but they have a very hard time to close the gap when it comes to worst cases. This highlights the importance of human beings and developers checking those systems and verifying those systems regularly. That's the symbiosis we've been talking about. Pushing boundaries can have other unexpected consequences too. In the case that Adam was talking about, few Go masters stopped playing the game altogether. The impact of those technologies on people should never be underestimated, no matter how cool we think they are. Finally, to venture into the realm of magic, we're looking at the breaking boundaries category, where new forms of cooperation emerge, where AI could acquire some form of agency. It is the remaining 3% of that portfolio of initiatives I was talking about. The time horizon of those projects is about 24 months. Radical new plays, daring use cases, that have potential to alter industries, create new business functions. That's the upper right-hand quadrant of the opportunity radar that you saw yesterday into the keynote. Creative, imaginative, redefining actual business and operational models. Now, these projects are expensive. They are in low millions to the mid-teens of millions of dollars. They need to be vetted carefully before venturing into these new territories. And Veda Biosciences, a biotechnology company whose mission is to transform human health by mapping and discovering nature's chemistry, has done this. They have leveraged generative AI and, it's almost weird to say that, traditional machine learning techniques to discover new drugs. Let's hear it from Tom at Enveda.
Natural products are chemical compounds that are produced by natural sources, like plants and fungi. They are the source of over a third of humanity's medicinal portfolio, including medicines that address critical global health needs, including malaria, heart disease, and cancer. In spite of their incredible clinical success, less than 1% of natural products are known to science. The remaining 99% is a potential treasure trove of new medicines. Enveda is building technologies to unlock this cache. Our machine learning models analyze, interpret, and translate data from biological samples concurrently, giving us information about the underlying chemical structures of the natural products, their drug likeness, and bioavailability in mere moments. This information could potentially take years to obtain using classical methods. Our models combine generative AI methods, which allow us to predict the structure of natural products that have never been seen before by science, with classical machine learning approaches to estimate the reliability of the structure predictions. This powerful combination enables our drug hunters to make informed prioritization decisions, speeding the drug discovery process and helping us to deliver new medications to patients faster.
Our entire pharmacopoeia relies on less than 1% of natural products. I don't know about you, but I was totally floored when Tom told me about that. Surprisingly, what he said, it works because it seems that there's a strong parallel between natural language constructs like grammar and chemistry vocabulary, which allows them to unlock the 99% and significantly address and accelerate the drug discovery process. So discovering new drug at that rate is already amazing. But will they work in humans? What about clinical trials? Well, another remarkable thing that Enveda has done is that they have gathered ancestral medical knowledge, or ethnobotany, to be able, that it's actually traditional medicine that has been gathered by centuries traditions, to be able to understand also what have worked in humans. Now they are combining that drug discovery with strong foundations for clinical trials. How is that for breaking boundaries? Composite AI is what Enveda is using here. They are discovering the unknown using machine learning techniques, hidden correlations in the data, and they are using graph and rule-based systems to capture existing known knowledge, precious known knowledge, that knowledge that resides in the head of your best employees. That capture is possible. Those techniques are decades old. Ethnobotany is what my grandmother was doing without knowing it. She had these jars of leaves in her cupboards, and she used to mix those leaves to treat all kinds of ailments. She got that from her mother, that got it from her mother, who got it from her mother, and so on. And today I'm sitting here wondering, what have I retained of that incredible, precious knowledge? That is what my wisdom has been reduced to. A pre-made Nespresso herbal tea capsule, soured by a little of my shame. But once you broke boundaries, what lies beyond? Is it possible to start redefining the game itself? Can machines become self-sustaining investors and decide by themselves how to structure powerful portfolios? AI as an actor also means machine as clients. It means the ability to generate synthetic agencies of rational agents running businesses on their own. It means adaptive system unleashing the learning techniques to look at unforeseen circumstances and adjust to them using adaptive AI. It means creating new data to better anticipate complex events. And you think I'm dreaming? A few are already among us today. Capital Logics is doing just that. They have an investment systems which can learn, organize, and reconfigure itself for best performance. It can even change its own learning mechanism by deciding how to invest. As with every AI model, the challenge is to temper those models' overconfidence or teaching AI some humility. Generative AI is now moving into the next phase already. It's generating, actually, and spawning swarms of agents that can act by themselves, autonomous agents. Now, imagine we have employees' digital twins that generate different rational agents to perform various functions that we do on a daily basis. And those are there to engage and respond to our friends, our colleagues, our managers, our business partners. And as we do that, then we're thinking, well, if we can make that happen, then what about adding a new personal digital twin for home that interacts with our family, with our kids, with our friends, with our Star Trek fan club, all these different things also? Well, once we've done this, who has priority? Who decides? How do you orchestrate those? What if your colleagues, friends, and family, and everybody else start making these agents possible? How do we form preferences? How do they evolve? All of those twin agents start acting on our behalf, personally and professionally, on behalf of others, humans or machines. On behalf of organizations, their complex interaction will give way to what we call emergent properties. Now, let's not take that for sentience. Okay, let's not get there. But instead, our upcoming challenge, which is already among us today, is due to guide and orchestrate those emerging rational agents into, who knows, maybe a new form of intelligence. Thinking, decisioning companions who have to teach some AI, some humanity as well at some point. But let's come back to today. The challenge of becoming an AI native, again, within boundaries, and pushing boundaries, and breaking boundaries, and the further you go, the bigger the impact, but also the bigger the risk. And of course, when you start looking at those systems, we might have to mitigate to keep AI fair, reliable, and sustainable. And we know how much those very large language models are consuming in terms of energy. Obviously, the portfolio profile will also vary across organizations. You do not have all the same appetite for risk. Considering the new rate of change and the learning curve, organizations within their portfolio, within boundaries, have to make sure that if they stay within boundaries, they will compromise their chances to compete. Your existing use cases are already an indication. They should help you. You've learned a lot through that process already. The portfolio approach, hopefully, should help you propel you forward with mitigating that risk. But fast following is no longer an option, unless you're a greyhound dog walker. You need to establish the rules of engagement. You need to rely on imagination and audacity and move beyond productivity. But be aware, there is a trap between within boundaries and pushing boundaries. Many organizations that are focusing on productivity gains are focusing exclusively on personnel reductions, which then limit their success in the latter 20% of the portfolio when it becomes impossible sometimes to reacquire that talent. We see that AI is shifting the value proposition from full-time employee reduction to augmenting the value of your existing employees. And I've seen that in the last 9 months many, many times over. Nothing new here, by the way. AI in general, and generative AI in particular, is just accelerating the timeline. In our writing code example, that new code will still have to be embedded into business processes, verified, validated. And who's going to do that? Software engineers. And then we're going to have to ask the right questions to those systems. Who is going to do that? Prompt engineers. Have you heard of prompt engineers? I bet you have. But a year ago at the same time, not so sure. So those new skills are emerging within AI today, and we need to make sure that we push them forward. Because beyond the boundaries, the risk is at its highest. But regardless of the level of initiatives, again, failure should be an option, because the risk of doing nothing has never been higher. People move fast. My esteemed colleague, Kevin Gabbard, who worked with Johnson Matthey, it's a global specialty company in chemicals and sustainable technologies, has witnessed this firsthand. They looked at the critical element of innovation thinking. Let's hear it from Kevin.
We spoke to Johnson Matthey, a sustainable technologies company, about their process for innovation. One executive who facilitates their brainstorming sessions noted that he really has to push their very operations-focused business leaders to open up to weird, even obscure ideas. After brainstorming, they assessed their 10% most futuristic and aspirational ideas for three things: the alignment to their enterprise strategy, how much competitors are investing or expressing interest, and whether ideas are even technically feasible. They noted three kinds of opportunities. First, necessary bets, which have clear implications for the competitive landscape. That is, everyone else is investing, and so there's a clear roadmap. Next, seemingly impossible wins, which represent latent value because they are presumed to be highly aspirational, when in fact they're feasible with available technology. These investments might not have attracted attention from competitors and so provide high impact, even if they are niche. Finally, stretch aspirations, which are cutting-edge opportunities to reshape the business strategy, the market, or the industry by investing in nascent trends and embracing uncertainty. So, if we're going to achieve the promise of the coming wave of AI technology, we must challenge ourselves to have really big imaginations. And we must be bold. It's glib to say that we don't act because we fear failure. That's been done. We've made failure safe enough. To take our organizations across the boundaries of what is currently possible, we must be prepared to take unconventional, even daring, next steps.
Daring next steps. So 10% of the most futuristic and inspirational ideas are made of these three things. Alignment to enterprise strategy. Pretty obvious, although very hard to achieve in many cases. Interest and investment from competitors. And that's where it shows also that niche capabilities sometimes that are worth exploring despite their perceived negative return. But the doubt on technology feasibility, that's the treasure trove. This is where AI can make a big difference, because today many things we think are impossible are really becoming in the realm of the possibility without a tremendous amount of investment. From a number of initiatives perspective, your portfolio includes many initiatives within boundaries, essentially focused on productivity gain. But when you look at the impact, it's a mirror view of that. It's where most of those opportunities come when you start breaking boundaries. And that's where differentiation lives and breakthroughs are made. Clearly, the lesson here is that the challenge with pushing ahead with AI will be a lack of imagination, not a lack of AI magic. Breaking boundaries might be your safest way to compete. Like Kevin said, we made failing pretty safe, and there are undeniable risks that are linked to the AI portfolio. And the idea is to realistically face those risks and start establishing an effective learning culture. Knowing that the learning curve is becoming incompressible, we are suggesting that as talent keeps narrowing, you need to name an AI lead, a lead AI orchestrator. Someone that will work with all the executives within your organization to orchestrate those AI initiatives. That person will also start looking into exploring innovative business ideas and finally start to initiate an AI literacy program. AI does not signal the obsolescence of natural intelligence. It is a possibility and the emergence of augmented intelligence. That's what AI should stand for, augmented intelligence. In other words, the opportunity to invent a symbiotic relationship. I'm confident that you already started. You already are on that journey, one way or the other. You already started those processes inside your organization. Initiate your own AI portfolio. Open your AI labs. Do not wait, or you will not be able to catch up. Learning time is incompressible. Then expand and balance that AI portfolio. Do not focus exclusively on everyday AI. And within boundaries, you might not be able to catch up. To achieve game-changing AI, be audacious, break those boundaries. Look beyond that. It's 3%. It's expensive, but it's 3%. And finally, orchestrate your AI portfolio. Go beyond prototyping. Start scaling AI. look at the responsible manner you should be doing that as well. Name your AI lead to coordinate the efforts across your organization. That person could be you. We are only at the beginning of this journey. As we have finally created a sparring partner for our intelligence, are we at the dawn of Danny Healy's wish? I want to make a machine that can be proud of us. Thank you.